I was standing in the jewelry section of Costco on a Wednesday afternoon in September, holding a 1.2-carat diamond engagement ring that cost $4,799. About to do something that would either make me the smartest woman in Phoenix, Arizona, or the most pathetic. I bought it. Swiped my own credit card, carried it out to my Honda Accord in a Costco bag next to a 24-pack of paper towels and a rotisserie chicken, and drove home to the apartment I shared with my boyfriend of 6 years, Derek Castellano. I'm Maya Torres, I'm 31 years old. I work as a senior accountant at Henderson and Clark Financial Services in Scottsdale, and for 6 years I'd been waiting for Derek to propose. 6 years of hints, conversations, and watching every single one of my friends get engaged while I smiled and congratulated them and died a little inside each time. But 3 weeks ago, everything changed when I discovered Derek's secret. And that Costco ring, that was just step one of a plan that would blow up both our lives in ways neither of us saw coming. Let me back up. Derek and I met in college at Arizona State University. He was studying business management. I was in accounting. We started dating junior year, moved in together 6 months after graduation, and built what I thought was a solid life. He worked as an operations manager at a logistics company. Good job, steady income, normal hours. We split rent on a 2-bedroom apartment in Tempe, alternated cooking dinner, and talked about the future in that vague way couples do when they're comfortable but not committed. Except I wasn't vague about the future, I was specific, very specific. I told Derek on our 2nd anniversary that I wanted to be engaged by year 4 and married by year 5. He nodded, said that sounded good, that he wanted the same thing. Year 4 came and went. No ring. Year 5 passed, still nothing. When I brought it up, he'd say he was waiting for the right moment, that he wanted it to be special, that these things take time. 6 years in, I was running out of patience. My best friend Lauren got engaged after dating her boyfriend for 18 months. My coworker Jessica got a ring after 10 months. Even my younger sister Camilla, who's 27 and dated her now fiancé for exactly 1 year, had a wedding date set before I had a conversation that went anywhere. I wasn't jealous, I was confused. What was Derek waiting for? Then came August 29th, a Thursday evening that changed everything. Derek was working late, or so he said. I was home alone, trying to reconcile some expense reports I'd brought home from work. I needed a calculator and mine was dead, so I grabbed Derek's laptop from the coffee table to use the calculator app. The screen was asleep. I tapped the trackpad. What I saw made my stomach drop through the floor. His email was open. The top message was from someone named Brianna Ortiz. The subject line read, "Can't wait for this weekend." Read, I should have closed it, should have respected his privacy, should have walked away. I didn't. I clicked. The email was short, sweet, and absolutely devastating. Hey babe, counting down the days until we're in Sedona. 2 nights, just us, no interruptions. I already packed that red dress you like. Love you so much. Can't believe it's already been 8 months. Best 8 months of my life. 8 months. Derek had been seeing someone else for 8 months while telling me he was working late, going to team building events and visiting his parents in Flagstaff. I sat on that couch for probably 10 minutes without moving, the laptop glowing in the dim living room, the expense reports scattered on the coffee table, completely forgotten. Then my accountant brain kicked in. I didn't scream, I didn't call him, I didn't confront anyone. I started auditing. I went through his email systematically, months of messages. Brianna worked at the same logistics company as Derek, started in March as a logistics coordinator. They'd been flirting in the office, then meeting for coffee, then dinner, then overnight trips disguised as work conferences. The Sedona trip was scheduled for the following weekend. A romantic getaway at a bed and breakfast called Canyon Moon Retreat. Derek told me he was going to a supply chain seminar in Tucson. I screenshotted everything. Every email, every reservation confirmation, every "I love you" and "miss you" and "can't stop thinking about you." Send them all to my personal email. Then I closed the laptop and put it back exactly where it was. That night when Derek came home at 9:47 p.m., I was sitting on the couch watching Netflix like nothing had happened. He kissed me on the forehead, asked about my day, microwaved some leftovers, and told me about a frustrating meeting with a client. I nodded, smiled, and said nothing. For the next 3 weeks, I became someone I didn't recognize. I found Brianna Ortiz on Instagram, public profile because of course it was. She was 26, pretty, and worked in marketing before switching to logistics. Her photos showed a life full of brunches, hiking trips, and selfies with captions about living my best life. And there, buried in her photos from 6 months ago, was Derek. Sitting next to her at a restaurant I recognized, the Mission in Old Town Scottsdale. The caption read, "Amazing night with amazing company, clinking glasses." I mapped Derek's late nights and work trips against Brianna's Instagram posts. They matched perfectly, every single time. But here's where it gets interesting. I also started going through our shared expenses. We had a joint checking account for rent and utilities but kept separate accounts for personal spending. Except Derek had been pulling money from our joint account for months. $487 for dinner at Talavera at Four Seasons, $856 for a weekend at a resort in Tucson, $235 for flowers I never received, $1,200 for a necklace I never saw. Over 8 months, Derek had spent $6,340 of our money on his girlfriend. Money I'd been contributing to equally, thinking it was going toward our shared life, our future together. I didn't confront him, not yet. Instead, I did something that would seem insane to most people. I bought myself an engagement ring. Here's the thing about waiting 6 years for someone to propose: you learn exactly what kind of ring you want. You browse, you screenshot, you make Pinterest boards. You know your ring size, your preferred setting, your ideal carat weight. I wanted a round, brilliant cut, simple solitaire white gold band, classic, timeless, elegant. So on September 18th, during my lunch break, I drove to Costco, yes, Costco. Because they have surprisingly beautiful diamond rings at a fraction of traditional jewelry store prices, and I found exactly what I wanted. 1.2 carats vs 1 clarity, excellent cut, white gold setting, $4,799. I bought it with my personal credit card, drove back to work, and hid it in my desk drawer. That night, I told Derek I wanted to talk. We sat at our small dining table, the same table where we'd eaten probably 1,000 meals together, and I looked him in the eyes. "I think it's time we get engaged," I said calmly. Derek blinked. "Oh, yeah, I've been thinking about that too." "Have you?" "Yeah, definitely. I want it to be perfect, you know." The right moment? 6 years feels like the right moment to me. He shifted uncomfortably. "I know, babe, I promise it's coming soon." "How soon?" "I don't know, maybe by the holidays, maybe." "The holidays? Another 3 months of maybe," I nodded slowly. "Okay," and I let it drop because I already had a ring and I already had a plan. The next day, I went to see a jeweler in Scottsdale, a small independent shop called Desert Diamond Gallery. I walked in with my Costco ring and asked if they could resize it to fit Derek's finger. The jeweler, a kind older man named Richard, looked confused. "This is a women's engagement ring." "I know," I said. "I need it sized for a man, ring size 10. Richard didn't ask questions. He took my money, said it would be ready in 3 days. Here's what I was planning. Derek was leaving for his Sedona trip with Brianna on Friday, September 27th. The trip, he told me, was a work seminar in Tucson. On that Friday morning before he left, I was going to propose to him. Yes, you read that correctly. I was going to get down on one knee in our apartment and ask Derek Castellano to marry me, and then I was going to watch his world implode. Because here's what Derek didn't know. I knew about Brianna. I had 8 months of evidence. I'd already consulted with a lawyer about our shared assets. I'd moved $8,500 from our joint account into my personal savings, the exact amount he'd been planning to use for the Sedona trip and the exact amount he'd stolen from us for his affair. I'd contacted his boss at the logistics company with a formal complaint about workplace relationships affecting company resources, but the ring. The proposal, that was just for me. I wanted to see his face when I asked him to spend the rest of his life with me, knowing he was about to spend the weekend with another woman. I wanted him to feel trapped, confused, and forced to reveal the truth in the worst possible way. Friday, September 27th arrived. Derek was packing his overnight bag in the bedroom. I could hear him humming, excited for his romantic weekend disguised as professional development. I waited until he zipped up his bag and walked into the living room. "Hey," I said. "Before you go, can we talk for a second?" He checked his watch. "I really need to get going. Traffic to Tucson is going to be brutal. This will only take a minute." He sighed but sat down on the couch. I stood in front of him, reached into my pocket, and pulled out the small velvet box. Derek's eyes went wide, then I got down on one knee. "Derek Michael Castellano," I said, my voice steady, "I have loved you for 6 years. We've built a life together. We've talked about our future. And I don't want to wait anymore." I opened the box. The ring, the $4,799 Costco diamond that I'd had resized to fit his finger, glinted in the morning sunlight streaming through our apartment window. "Will you marry me?" I asked. The color drained from Derek's face. He opened his mouth. I closed it. I opened it again. "Maya, yes or no, Derek, this mean. This isn't that?" I asked, still on one knee, still holding the ring box. "Isn't the right time, isn't the way you imagined? Or isn't something you can say yes to because you're leaving in 20 minutes to spend the weekend with your girlfriend in Sedona?" Derek went completely still. "What?" he whispered. I stood up, snapped the ring box closed, and looked him dead in the eyes. "I know about Brianna. I've known for 3 weeks. I know about the 8 months of lying. I know about the $6,340 you've spent on her using our money. I know about every late night, every fake work trip. Every single lie you've told me while I sat here waiting for you to propose to me like you promised you would 4 years ago." Derek's mouth opened, but nothing came out. "So here's what's going to happen," I continued, my voice eerily calm. "You're going to leave for your romantic weekend in Sedona with Brianna. You're going to have a wonderful time at Canyon Moon Retreat. You're going to post cute photos and drink wine and pretend you're building a future with someone who actually trusts you." I paused. "And when you come back on Sunday, all of your stuff will be in boxes in the parking lot. I've already contacted the landlord. My name is on the lease, yours isn't. You have until Monday to find a new place to live." "Maya, wait, I'm not done," I said. "I've also filed a formal complaint with your HR department about your relationship with Brianna, citing misuse of company resources and time. That's being reviewed on Monday morning." Derek's face went from white to red. "You can't." "I already did. And one more thing." I pulled out my phone, opened my email, and turned the screen toward him. "I've sent screenshots of every email, every reservation, every romantic message you and Brianna exchanged over the past 8 months to 15 people. Your parents, my parents, your boss. My friends, her friends, everyone who should know exactly who you are." I watched the realization hit him like a truck. "The ring," I held up the box, "this was never for you, this was for me. To remind myself that I'm worth more than someone who makes me wait 6 years while he's building a life with someone else." I turned and walked toward our bedroom, my bedroom now, and closed the door. I heard Derek standing in the living room for maybe 30 seconds. Then I heard the front door open and close. He left for Sedona. And I sat on my bed, opened the ring box, and looked at the diamond I'd bought for myself. If you're still reading, thank you for being here. If this story resonated with you, hit that like button and drop a comment telling me where you're watching from. Your support means everything. That weekend was the longest of my life. I stayed in the apartment alone, knowing Derek was 2 hours north in a romantic bed and breakfast with Brianna, probably trying to figure out how his entire life had just exploded. Saturday morning, my phone started ringing. Derek's mom, Patricia, called first, left a voicemail asking what was going on, saying Derek called her upset, saying there must be some misunderstanding. I didn't call back. My mom called next. She'd seen the emails. She was furious, not at me, at Derek. 6 years, Maya. 6 years and he does this to you, my sister Camilla texted. I'm coming over with wine and Mexican food. Don't argue, Lauren called and said simply, I knew something was off about him. I'm sorry I didn't say anything. The messages kept coming, friends expressing shock, coworkers offering support. Even 2 people I barely knew reached out to say they'd suspected Derek was cheating but didn't know how to tell me. But the most interesting message came Sunday morning, from Brianna Ortiz. It was an email, not a text. Subject line, I'm so sorry. I almost deleted it without reading it, but curiosity won. Maya, I don't expect you to forgive me or even read this. But I need you to know that I had no idea Derek was still with you. He told me 8 months ago that you two had broken up, that you were just living together until the lease ended, that it was completely over. He said you were dating other people. He showed me dating apps on his phone and said you were both moving on. I believed him. I'm 26 and stupid, and I believed every word. When I got your email on Friday with all those screenshots, I confronted Derek. He admitted everything, admitted he lied to me, admitted he's been lying to you. Admitted he was never going to propose to you or commit to me, he just wanted both lives. I left Sedona yesterday, drove back alone. I quit my job this morning. I can't work at the same company as him, I can't even look at him. I'm sorry for my part in hurting you, you deserved so much better. Brianna, I read it 3 times. Then I did something I didn't expect. I wrote back, Brianna, thank you for this email. I believe you. He's a liar and a manipulator and we both deserve better. I hope you find it. Maya, she responded an hour later, thank you for believing me. I hope you find better too. P.S. That proposal was the most badass thing I've ever heard of. You're incredible. I laughed. Actually, I laughed for the first time in 3 weeks. Sunday evening, Derek came home. I heard his key in the lock. I heard the door open. I heard him walk into the apartment and stop when he saw the boxes. I'd spent the entire afternoon packing his things. Clothes, books, toiletries, gaming equipment, every trace of him neatly boxed and labeled and stacked by the door. I walked out of the bedroom. Derek looked exhausted, broken. Maya, please. Can we talk about this? No, I made a mistake, a huge mistake, but we can fix this. There's nothing to fix, Derek. This isn't a mistake. A mistake is forgetting to pay a bill or leaving the stove on. This is 8 months of deliberate choices, 8 months of lying to my face every single day. I was confused. I didn't know what I wanted. You knew exactly what you wanted, I said. You wanted both of us. You wanted me to pay half the rent and cook dinner and wait patiently for a proposal that was never coming. And you wanted her to make you feel young and excited and like you weren't stuck in a 6-year relationship with someone who expected you to actually commit. Derek's jaw clenched. That's not fair. What's not fair is that I wasted 6 years of my life on someone who couldn't even respect me enough to be honest. What's not fair is that you spent our money on another woman. What's not fair is that you made me feel crazy for wanting the future you promised me. I do love you. Stop. I held up my hand. You don't get to say that anymore. Love isn't lying. Love isn't cheating. Love isn't making someone wait 6 years while you keep your options open. Derek looked at the boxes, then back at me. Where am I supposed to go? I genuinely don't care. But you have until tomorrow morning to get your things out. After that, I'm changing the locks. He started to say something else, but I turned and walked back into the bedroom and locked the door. I heard him moving boxes for the next hour, heard his truck start in the parking lot, heard the engine fade as he drove away, and then I was alone. Completely, totally alone in the apartment we'd shared for 4 years. I should have felt sad, should have cried, should have mourned the relationship. Instead, I felt light. Like I'd been carrying something heavy for 6 years and finally set it down. The next morning, I called a locksmith, changed the locks, cost me $175 but worth every penny. Then I went to the bank and closed our joint checking account, transferred my half to my personal account, left his half in a cashier's check that I mailed to his mom's house with a note, "For Derek." His share of the joint account, "We're done." I didn't want his money, I just wanted him gone. Work was awkward for about 2 weeks. People knew the HR complaint against Derek was being reviewed. Brianna had quit. Derek was apparently on administrative leave while they investigated whether company resources had been misused for personal relationships. I focused on my job. Buried myself in spreadsheets and financial reports and client meetings. My boss, Helen, called me into her office one afternoon. "Maya, I need to ask, are you okay?" I nodded. "I'm better than okay, actually," Helen smiled. "Good, because I'm promoting you to accounting manager. You've earned it. And frankly, you've handled the past month with more grace and professionalism than most people handle a normal Tuesday." The promotion came with a $15,000 raise and my own office. Things were looking up. 3 months later, I was sitting in my new office when I got a text from an unknown number. "Hey Maya, it's Brianna. I know this is random, but I wanted to let you know that Derek got fired last week. The investigation found he'd been falsifying expense reports and using company time resources for personal trips. Thought you'd want to know, hope you're doing well." I stared at that message for a long moment, then I typed back, "Thank you for letting me know, I hope you're doing well too." She responded, "I am. I got a job at a marketing firm in Denver, fresh start, new city, no liars allowed." I smiled. "Good for you, truly." That night I looked at the ring sitting in its box on my dresser. The $4,799 diamond I'd bought myself when I was desperate and angry and tired of waiting. I took it to a jeweler the next day, not Richard at Desert Diamond Gallery, but a different one. A woman-owned shop called Phoenix Rising Jewelry. The owner, Maria, looked at the ring and asked, "Are you selling it?" "No," I said. "I want you to redesign it, turn it into a necklace. Something I can wear every day." Maria smiled. "I can do that. What's the occasion?" "A reminder," I said, "that I'm worth the investment." 2 weeks later, I picked up the necklace. The 1.2-carat diamond now hung from a delicate white gold chain. Simple, elegant, perfect. I wore it to my sister's wedding in December. Camilla got married at a beautiful venue in Paradise Valley. The ceremony was gorgeous, the reception was perfect, and when people asked about my necklace, I told them the truth. I bought it for myself. As a reminder that I don't need anyone else to give me value. My mom overheard and squeezed my hand. "Grandma would be proud of you." She was right. My grandmother, who'd worked 3 jobs to put herself through college in the 1960s, who'd never waited for a man to build her life, who'd taught me that independence isn't selfish, it's survival. She would have loved this story. At the reception, Lauren pulled me aside. "Have you heard?" "Heard what?" "Derek's dating someone new. I met her at a sports bar last month." "She's 23, I took a sip of champagne. "Good for him, hope she's smarter than we were." Lauren laughed. "You're really okay, aren't you?" "I really am," I said, and I meant it. Here's the thing about waiting for someone to choose you. Eventually you realize the most important choice is the one you make for yourself. I chose to stop waiting. I chose to investigate instead of ignore. I chose to confront instead of cry. I chose to propose with a ring I bought myself because I was tired of waiting for someone else to decide I was worth it. And you know what? That choice changed everything. I'm 32 now. I live alone in a 1-bedroom apartment in Scottsdale with a balcony view of Camelback Mountain. I got another promotion at work. I have my own office, my own team, and my own parking spot with my name on it. I'm dating again casually, no rush, no timelines, no expectations. Just meeting people and seeing what happens without measuring every date against some imaginary proposal deadline. And I still wear that necklace every single day. The $4,799 diamond that reminds me I proposed to myself first. I chose me, and that was the best proposal I ever could have received. Thank you so much for reading this story. If it meant something to you, please hit that like button, subscribe, and tell me in the comments. Have you ever had to choose yourself over someone else? I read every comment and I'd love to hear your story. Take care of yourselves, you're worth it, I promise.